Live from the studios of ThatChannel.com, it's the Jay Stoyan Show. Today's guests include Carrie Goulet, Kelly Marie Murtha, L.A. Lopez, and Dan Fox. With musical guest Hillary Weaver. And now, here are your hosts, Jay Stoyan and Ashley Monroe.
Welcome to the Jay Stoyan Show. I'm Jay.
I'm Ashley.
And we are so happy to be here because you're joining us today. What a great show we have. Why don't we do this, Ash? Why don't we introduce the guests?
Okay.
And then we'll get right into some juicy hot topics. On the show today, we have Director of StopConcussions.com, Carrie Goulet. This guy's fantastic. He's going to come on and he's going to talk about what's very important right now in sports, not only hockey, but we're going to focus on hockey, but all the concussions that players are getting hurt these days. We also have on a fantastic... Yeah, it's awful. It's terrible. And something has to be done about that. Yeah. So Carrie's going to come on and give us some really good information. Hopefully you guys are listening at home, parents, for their kids, because it has to stop. It's like an epidemic. Along with that, we have a fantastic panel member board. We're going to get some juicy topics. On the show today, we have producer L.A. Lopez. I love that name.
I know.
She's going to come on, and she's a very talented lady. We just actually covered some of her content, which is Unleash, the horror film. You guys got to go check out this film. Along with L.A., we also have actor Dan Fox. Fantastic guy. He's going to tell us about his web series. Very cool. And we also have actress Kelly Marie Murtha. She just finished a fantastic film. So they're going to come on, and we're going to get into some great topics. Along with that, we are going to have musician Hillary Weaver on. This girl, you guys got to check her out. She's super talented. She's all around the city, and I believe she's going to be playing some places in the GTA. So we're going to be thoroughly entertained today. We're very lucky.
I know, we had a beautiful day today, didn't we?
Beautiful day.
We were downtown at the mayor's office
Yes,
today.
actually,
It was very nice.
Yes, tell me about that.
Well, this morning, Jay and I had the amazing opportunity to go to Rob's office, and we're trying to work on a few things with them, and it's very, very exciting. It was really good energy there.
It was.
Yeah.
We have to thank Adrian and Brian and, of course, Rob, because they were very nice to us. And
so sweet.
Stay tuned because we have some exciting things coming up. We can't tell you right now. We can't give all our secrets away.
No, we can't say anything.
Yes. So
you're the worst with it.
I am. I do tell the secrets. So
you tell everything.
I know. She's asked to give me the old elbow once in a while.
But I actually rat you out a little bit now. Do you notice that?
I know you do. I know. She's bad, eh? I love it, though. Give it to me. I love it. What I want to do is read two emails. I have one from Betty in Orangeville.
Oh, okay.
She says, "Hey, guys, I really love the segment you did on Rob Ford a couple weeks ago. I support him wholeheartedly. I know everybody else doesn't, but I do. So way to go, guys. Congratulations."
Thank you, Betty.
Thanks, Betty.
Thank you.
And I have one from Craig in Winnipeg. He's talking about the Leafs. He says, "Jay, since Winnipeg left, I jumped on the Leaf bandwagon. Now Winnipeg's back. I'm sorry, I'm back on Winnipeg, but I still love the Leafs. And they do need to get a new coach," he says.
For sure.
So, Ron Wilson, you heard that? So I kind of agree with you, Craig.
You're bold, honey.
Yeah, I want to thank the emails from Craig and Betty. What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with our first guest. We will be back with the director from StopConcussions.com, Carrie Goulet. So stay tuned. We'll be back with the Jay Stoyan Show.
Girl, I don't care. Gonna let go.
welcome back to the show. Before I get started, do I sound like a hockey commentator to you? Like I'm really
Yes,
talking quick,
you
ain't I?
do.
I know.
Very much.
I can't help it. It's what happens when I get really excited.
I know, we both get excited.
And it's all because of our guests.
I am
Speaking
so
of our
excited.
guests, let's introduce director Kerry Goulet. He is StopConcussions.com. Kerry, thanks for coming on the show today.
Tell you what, thank you for having me and being able to give awareness about a very serious situation, not only in sport but in our lifestyles right now. Of course, we've heard it's called a concussion, but it's actually a mild traumatic brain injury, which is invisible. We all know that we can't touch it, we can't feel it, we can't see it, so we're kind of not understanding it. Break a leg, break an arm, you see a cast, you know not to continue on. But when you break a brain, and that's basically what we're doing, we need to get awareness and we need to get education. Education, education, education. That's what we're about.
And you used to actually be a professional hockey
Yes.
player, right?
Yeah, I never quite made it to the National Hockey League. My draft year was 1977, so please don't do the math real quickly, but a little bit older. Actually, it's a really funny story because when I came through the Winnipeg Jets, I had maybe the talent to play, but in those days with the Broad Street Bullies, in Philadelphia, it was really tough. You had to be tough, or Gretzky, and I wasn't either. So what happened is I met John Ferguson Sr. in 1978.
Great guy.
The Winnipeg Jets had just taken over an NHL team. I met with him with a gentleman named Fran Huck, one of our great national players. He was an agent at the time and said, Kerry, I think I can get you an opportunity to go on a pre-rookie trial. While I did that, got beat up badly, and John Ferguson Sr. said, hey, Kerry, I'm sorry, you're just not tough enough.
Was that the first concussion?
Probably a couple in that game. In those days, we didn't know the word concussion. We just said, hey, your bell's rung, continue on playing. And we were taught as young boys to, if it ain't broke, you play. And that's what
Tough
we
it up
basically
and
did.
just
Yeah.
deal with it.
And I know we were talking off camera because Ashley, you have something that's really
Yes.
relatable. You
I
yourself.
have had concussions many times.
incredible.
I'm a mad woman,
Yeah.
and I get really, really busy. Like
Yeah.
one time I was running out of the Eden Center, going to a trade show, and I ran into a revolving door and knocked myself out.
Well,
And ended up in the hospital.
that's common, though. And I think
I
people
didn't
don't.
know.
I don't know if that's common.
My friends were like,
Listen, one
Funny.
great hockey player, he was it was his draft year. Everything was going. He's already had a couple concussions in training camp. The doors were swinging, and he was coming one way. Another guy was coming another. The door came swinging back, hit him in the head.
No.
Ended his career. He didn't even get it to the ice. So it's a normal thing. The unfortunate part is, again, we have over the years, we've had this macho society that have allowed us to continue on damaging our brains without really knowing what the cause, effect, and consequences are.
So where did you get this inspiration to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to bring awareness?
Well,
what was the incident?
Yeah, thank you. 32 years ago, my buddy broke his neck, Robert Feldfor,
No.
back in Winnipeg, one of my best friends. And so I gained a great value of learning about that. We're not invincible. We're athletes, but yet we're playing a game that's high level. Nobody told us that we'd be traveling at 30 miles an hour when we got big and strong. And so what happened was when Robert broke his neck, gave me an opportunity to understand
And
that
feel
we
it,
need to give
really,
back. So I went over to Europe at 27, had a great opportunity to be a pro hockey player, though not in the NHL, but still, as a Canadian living in Germany, that's what we're known for, hockey players, tough, rugged guys. So I was already put on a pedestal when I got there. Second game into being in Germany, unfortunately, I was going around a defenseman, take a shot, took my feet out from underneath me, I slid into the boards, woke up in a hospital with 5 German doctors over. Being there only 2 weeks, these 5 doctors were talking German, and of course my German at that time was Hogan's Heroes.
How long did it take you to come to?
Well, I don't know because when I don't remember being knocked out, so I woke up in the hospital. And the ironic part of that whole story is on Sunday night, it happened on Sunday night, my mother was flying in from Winnipeg to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, which is a 2.5-hour drive. So on a Wednesday, I couldn't get anybody to go and pick her up, so I was supposed to be in the hospital 10 days. Nobody had mentioned concussion because I couldn't understand the language anyways. So I snuck out of the hospital pretending I was going down to have a smoke. Everybody in Germany smokes. With my little hospital
then,
gear,
yeah.
jumped in the car, drove to Amsterdam 2.5 hours, picked my mother up, drove back to my apartment, and then the machoism came in. I'm not that bad. Little days, little bit. I didn't break anything. I continue on playing and continued on. Didn't go back to the hospital.
That's what you think, right? When
Absolutely.
it happens, you think you're fine, but then
Absolutely.
it hits you after, no?
And so
Go, Kerry.
for 18 months, I played Friday, Sunday, Friday, Sunday, Friday, Sunday, and then I was on the Autobahn. If you've ever been on the Autobahn, going at 250 miles an hour, pretty scary thing in the first place. And all of a sudden, my left arm went numb, my chest went tight, my eyes started to roll back. I felt I was having a heart attack.
Yep.
Pulled off to the side. My girlfriend at the time was with me. I tried to get out of the car, stumbled, threw me into the passenger seat, and then raced to the hospital. And being a star, I guess you'd call it in hockey, I was treated like royalty. The red carpet treatment, every doctor known to man was there. I had every test, things shoved in me that I didn't want to. And they did every test. When I came out of it at 30, I had nothing wrong with me.
Wow.
I was very physically
guy,
fit.
yep.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect. But unfortunately, I wasn't perfect. Something was wrong. 2 weeks later, I flew back to Canada, came to Winnipeg, and I had to go in and see a psychiatrist. They put me on, in those days, in 1980, they put me on drugs to get me through depression. I went to places where I would never want anybody to go. So I realized when I got back to health, flying back to Germany on drugs, I found out that my concussion, I didn't manage my brain injury. I allowed it to continue on and let it go. And that almost cost my life. So I met a guy named Ron Ellis, who we all know, winner of the Stanley Cup in
Great
'67.
guy. Great guy.
The last Stanley Cup for our famous
Yes.
Leafs. Now I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan again, of course. We'll probably win the cup before you.
Not on the show. He's
We're not
Yeah.
allowed.
But Ron Ellis and I sat down and had a chat, and he explained me his ordeal with concussions, very similar to yourself. We didn't understand it. So Ronnie, back in the 60s, got concussed, laid on the ice for 25 minutes. The trainer, no doctor, trainer came out. They wheeled him off in the back room, smelling salts. Sick smelling salts, and out he went and played again and did damage to his brain, and ended up being 2 years in the clinic and having to leave the Leafs. So we know that not managing a brain injury, not managing a concussion can turn out to be very detrimental.
So what are the first
Which
few
leads us
steps?
to your book.
Well, yeah,
here.
great. Thank you for the opportunity to present it.
There you go.
Wow, great awareness.
Yeah, so tell us a little
So
bit.
this was built by a guy named Keith Primo, a captain of the Philadelphia Flyers. If you ever met Keith, a giant, 6'5", an incredible person. He was concussed
How many
on his
times?
fourth concussion, which took him out of playing in the National Hockey League. He then decided that he needed to do something. He and I got together about 5 years ago and started to really develop a neurotrauma cause with Shoot for a Cure, dealing with the spinal cord, and then dealing with the brain. That's what neurotrauma is about. Keith and I basically said, you know what, we got to protect our youth. As adults in the picture, we know that we're going to do things that maybe damage certain parts of our body, and unfortunately, we cannot allow that to happen to our kids.
Nobody really talks about it.
So what we did is we put together a tips program, the Injury Prevention Skills Manual. Source for Sports has been fantastic. They've allowed us to go all across the country in 150 stores. We've got the head zones where you can actually go in and get information when you bang your head on a revolving
That's
door.
amazing.
You can get information,
When
whether
you
it be
bang
for
the
hockey,
door.
soccer, basketball, football,
So this is
tripping.
kind of like for the families and
It's for the
kids,
family,
everybody,
the kids,
teachers,
absolutely.
coaches, managers, everybody. Everybody.
What we've been doing, guys, is that we've been teaching old school skills to new school participants. Watch videos today. We bang our heads all the time, and we've never taken it serious enough to understand if we damage our brain, we can't see it. So what we do is we continue on damaging it. And if you've ever seen a second impact syndrome, and that's my job, I need to go to the hospitals when a young man or boy, girl have broken their necks 4 weeks after and they're paralyzed, their quads. I have to go to the hospitals, talk with the parents and that child. When they damage their brain and they have what's called second impact syndrome, that's when you've damaged your brain for the first time and re-damage it before it heals, you can get what's called second impact syndrome. That's the swelling of the brain. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I've been in this a long time. The brain swells. Well, the brain needs to go somewhere. So if it can't go out of the ears, of course, it tries to go down the spinal cord.
spine.
So what they have to do, unfortunately, is take the top of the forehead off, and that's what's called second impact syndrome. And the brain needs time to heal itself. The swelling has to go down, and then we've got serious consequences. It can end up in permanent brain damage, unfortunately, or death. Now that's the scary part, if I can just end on that, because I don't want to scare your viewers.
Yeah.
There are great things out there. Great people like Keith Primo,
And you don't look
Ron
like
Ellis.
young Frankenstein after the operation, right?
Exactly, you don't. Not in this day and age. So please, educate yourself. There's no pill, there's no Band-Aid, there's no equipment. There's only education. And today with great shows like yourself, the internet, smartphones, laptops, there's no excuse. You need to understand this because it's your child's brain.
Yeah,
Now,
young
can
children.
when you get concussed, can your brain recuperate? Like,
Absolutely.
it can go back to maybe not normal, but really improve and get back to sort of before the.
Yeah, what we're
prior.
finding, again, 3 years ago, we didn't really understand the disease called CT. It's chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And we're learning that athletes are dying at younger ages than they ever have before because we're damaging the brain. So the issue now is that we're understanding if you suffer a concussion or a mild traumatic brain injury, if it's managed correctly, that means once you understand the signs and symptoms, and please, there's so many of them, go on the website, our website, stopconcussions.com, Think First. There's great websites all out there. You can get the information as Source for Sports. Once you understand that, and you see the signs and symptoms, your young boy or girl comes home from playing in the schoolyard and they're sweaty and they're vomiting. We as parents automatically say, well, they've got the flu. Let's give them a couple aspirins. Those days are over. Ask them, did you bump your head? Did you hit a soccer ball? Did somebody punch you in the head? Because there are very similar to flu-like symptoms.
Correct,
and we can do this. We can collectively, parents, coaches, trainers, administrators, all of us sitting in the audience, we can make a difference by educating yourselves. The first concussion does not put you into a wheelchair or into a drool cup or into a bib. If we manage it correctly, you can come back and play normal sport. You can come back to normal life. And you hear the term a lot, return to play. Forget it. It's returning to life. When you've damaged your brain time and time again, you really have to understand you're changing the chemical imbalances in your brain. And we see athletes, 20, 22 years old, who have not taken the precautions and continue on pounding their brains. They end up living in darkness for 12 months. It's
great,
really
Carrie.
returning
Wow.
This is great information. So again, before we let you go, because
Yeah.
I know we got to let you go, but give out your website.
Yeah,
Where we can
stopconcussions.com.
find you.
And one more question
Yeah.
in 30 seconds. What's wrong with Reimer?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a very good question. Reimer took a concussion. We all don't know the medical histories because it's always an upper body injury.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it had to be found out by the press going to his mother and finding out that he had a series of concussions. Every sports team knows exactly your history of injuries. So they should have been very much prepared for this answer. And knowing that he's had concussions, you mentioned it early off camera, did he get hit? Was it a severe hit? It is a severe hit because it was more of a whiplash and his brain spins, so it's bouncing around. So obviously his brain had never healed correctly, and he's obviously taken some damage that's requiring a lot more time than we needed.
That's great. Carrie, we really want to thank you for being on the show
Great. I
today.
can't
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
And people can find out all the information, or a lot more information
Yeah.
from your website. Please do come back. And we'd like to have Jim and maybe Wayne
Absolutely,
one day.
Jim Thompson's great.
Yeah, we'd love to have you
Absolutely.
guys back in because
Fantastic.
it's such a sort of daily topic.
Yeah.
That and you guys seem to be right on it. So let us know what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Hillary Weaver. We want to thank Carrie Goulet.
Thank you.
We'll be back with the
Thank
Jay
you.
Stoyan Show.
Thank you. All right, again, I'm Hillary Weaver, and this next song that we're going to do was actually the first song that I ever wrote, and it's really, really close to my heart, and it's called Tell the Next Girl.
Always tell me what to do. It's never good enough for you. What can I do? I never turn my back
you.
Welcome back to the show. What a day, what a day. I want to thank Hillary Weaver. What a great performance. We're going to have her back later in the show. She rocks. She rocks. I love her vibe. Great vibe.
Yeah.
Speaking of great vibes, we have a fantastic panel. On our right, I'd like to introduce actress Kelly Marie Murtha.
Thank you, Kelly.
I'd like to introduce producer L.A. Lopez. Woo! And last but not least, I'd like to introduce actor Dan Fox to the show. Guys, thanks for coming on. We have some juicy topics that I want your guys' opinion. I want some infighting. So let's really get some conflict going. Yeah, some infighting, right? What's that?
Well, can we ask Kelly a little bit about herself?
Oh, there you go. Oh, there.
Right,
Sorry,
Kelly?
there you go. So
Sorry.
you do that. Go ahead.
Can you know, just give us a little briefing about, your
career.
career?
Sure. I've been in Toronto for a long time now. I came here from a small town, and I started acting about 7 years ago.
And you're very busy, I know.
Very busy. I just finished a short film about a month ago. And
Wow.
not doing anything at the moment, but I'll start rehearsals in January for a stage show that the F Word that will be put on at Buddies in Bad Times.
You sure do keep busy. I know that because
Yeah.
every time we talk, you're either researching the script, reading the script, reading the lines, going
Yeah.
for rehearsals. So that's great.
Audition.
Thanks for
Audition.
coming out today.
Thank
That's
you.
so sweet of
She's
her.
a great actress too.
I know, amazing.
And I know LA, I know you have a lot of stuff on the go. We were just together a little while ago, so why don't you tell our viewers about what you're doing now?
Well, I work with Dark House Films, which is a film production company. I write and produce for them, and also a creative manager. But I also act. And I have my own company called Art and Lies Productions, which is opening its show at the end of this month.
Wow.
And I'm doing a show called No Exit in January.
Beautiful.
Yeah. and
Where can we find you?
Oh, like online?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's darkhousefilms.com.
Okay.
Okay.
And artandliesproductions.com.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And Dan, yourself?
What's going on? How are you, man?
How are you, buddy?
Good.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
coming. Yeah,
Thanks
thanks for
having
coming
me.
in.
Thanks for having me.
Dan's a real good friend of the station and the show, so we're very welcome, very happy that he's in the studio
Yeah,
today.
thanks for having me.
And you're a busy guy, you know.
Pretty busy.
Yeah, so tell us about your juicy stuff. I know what's going on.
He's got
Lots of stuff. I've done like a lot of commercials this year. I just did an episode of Degrassi about a month ago, and at the beginning of the year, I was in a series that took me to Georgia in the USA, like all over Georgia, and India, New Delhi.
Well, that's where we just were.
That's where
No
we were.
way.
We were
Yeah.
in
Why didn't you tell me?
Acha-bacha!
I know. It's awesome. Did you guys ride in a rickshaw or what?
Oh, the little
Aren't those
green
things
ones?
crazy?
The little green ones, yeah.
Yeah. And you get there's like elephants and like
Oh,
cows and
We have to have another show just on. I forgot you
It's
were in. I remember,
nuts.
but right in New Delhi. you were.
yeah, yeah. So it's going to be like an interactive web series. It's amazing. The post production is out of this world. It's interactive and it's
How long were you there for
awesome.
again?
3 weeks.
Where?
weeks.
So where in Delhi did you stay?
Mostly just around the city. We stayed
Okay.
at this place called Jewar Bagh, which is across from like these ruins.
Okay, cool.
And
Because
it was
Ashley
amazing.
knows it well.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth. I'm like half Indian.
Oh,
Yeah, she goes all the
Ew.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
Acha-bacha!
Okay, so we gotta talk. We gotta talk about the
talked
topic.
about India the whole
Yeah, we
time.
gotta talk about the topics. Okay, the topics today we're gonna throw out are school and career.
Okay.
Mix the two, nostalgia and regret. So let's start with Kelly. Now, Kelly, regarding your school, have you taken that and implemented into your career at all?
Do you mean that I take like acting and then implement that into my
Well,
acting career?
anything
No.
from anything like from school, like whether it was home ec or your sciences or arts
No,
or
well, I mean, I have a BA in anthropology from university, so I don't really use that on a day-to-day basis.
Now-
But I did go to school for radio broadcasting.
you just so it's a little bit.
So a little bit of that. But I think what you do is you take the experiences that you've gone from school, especially in university, because it's not a practical application. It's more of a theoretical, right? I mean, you're learning how to study, you're learning how to, I don't know, read, you're
Yeah.
learning how to interact with people. So, and I think you do bring that in.
Because I want to try and get a feel for everybody if they really implemented any of their education into their life, and then we're going to sort of just rip it apart. So, LA, you next? Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely did. I went to Randolph Academy for the Performing Arts.
Okay.
I graduated there in 2009, and I probably would not be in the situation I am now if I didn't go to school.
So that's great.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it completely not just built me as a performer and built my confidence and made me very aware of my own technique and everything I do, but it also really helped in the sense of networking. because film, television, anything arts related is so based on networking to get the next job, really.
So it did help
So
you.
it helped me a great deal.
But that's now postgraduate, right? That's not.
That is a postgraduate.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
post. Okay, and yourself, Dan?
No.
No. No.
You can
No.
tell he was a rebel. No.
No, I guess I got time management. That's probably the only thing that I learned in school that helped me out, is how to manage my time. And I have like a little binder and I write stuff down. Like today I was going to be here at 5:30, so I wrote that down.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
so I got
reading and
time
writing
management.
skills, basically.
But I mean, I have my BA in religious studies, and I'm a professional actor.
Wow.
Religious studies, yeah. And I mean, I'm doing absolutely nothing with it.
With that.
And,
So when did
I
you
mean,
know that you were just gonna go the acting route?
Halfway through university. Yeah.
But you completed it all.
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
completed it, and it was good. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff, and I mean, I was thinking about getting a job as like Pope or something like that. There's a lot of money.
There was an opening a few
There's
years
a lot
ago.
of money in religion, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking if I can get up there in the ranks of the Catholic Church or whatever,
Oh
then
my
I can make a
goodness.
lot of money, line my pockets, live a good life, and
And how about you, Ash, yourself? Now, for schooling, did you sort of implement any of those school skills into the Jay Stoyan show, say? No?
I'm more of a street smart, I
Street
think.
smart,
I think
okay.
I learned it from traveling the world, and I
Okay.
think you learn more that
See,
way.
for me, it was just the chicks. I
What?
got my schooling from the school with the
course.
chicks for when I get older. Other than that, not too much. And the fun. I really learned how to have fun in school.
What did you take in school?
The park. That's what they took in
nice
school.
recess.
The park and the parking lot. That was my two favorite subjects. Okay, so moving along here, I'm getting a little bit serious here. So if you guys were a teacher, say, or a head of education, when do you think would be a good time to sort of sit a kid down and say, okay, I know you're only coming in grade 9, but this is kind of where your life kind of starts, your education kind of starts. Would you sort of recommend, like, what do you want to be? Like, nobody really asked me.
I never got that.
No one
I
asked
didn't-
me when I was in grade, what would you want to be when you ever grow up?
Exactly,
I
you didn't need that.
I didn't even get that in grade 13 when we were getting ready to graduate. That what kind of career are you looking at? I mean, you took one of those computerized things that you filled out with little dots and
That's
you fit
right.
it in
Yeah.
the computer and basically you turned out to be a veterinarian. Well,
Because I found that nobody really, like even the counselors, they never really
No.
sat you down and said, what do you want to be? Because
No.
no one said you can be anything except for
Such a
maybe
good
your
point.
parents.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe your parents did, but maybe they didn't even. But the teachers or the counselors, they never said, you can be anything you want. What do you want
Yeah.
to be? And let's gear your schooling maybe
Towards that.
that
Yeah.
instead of taking algebra and calculus. Now, if you're going to be an
I
engineer,
think all those kinds of things are important.
Yeah.
I think you should still have all the basics, whether they're reading, writing, arithmetic. I don't think you should discount any of that because you want to be an actor. I'm not
Yeah.
going to take my math classes anymore.
that's right, yeah.
No.
You don't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are missing though.
Like
Yeah.
household skills.
There is.
There's things like that and like finance.
Finance?
There's not a
Yeah.
mandatory
Yeah.
class in secondary school that says you have to learn finance.
This is
That's
how you open
so
up a bank
important,
account.
yeah.
Yeah, the
That's a
majority
really
of
good
people
thing.
who leave high school are 18 and get credit cards thrown at them, and then they don't know how to
They don't know
manage
what
it
to
because
do.
they think it's free money, and nobody taught us or
That's a good point.
It's a huge issue.
Or even
Yeah.
like running a household. Like, what do I have to do? Because you're a kid, you're 15, or you don't know what you don't pay
Yeah.
attention to what your parents do.
Yeah.
And by the time you're finished school, now it's your turn. And you're going, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to work. A laundry machine. Do I go shopping? How do I pay my bills?
Most
how
of
do
them are now
I?
But half
graduating
of that
after
I
grade
think
12.
is also part of a parent's job. You can't completely blame it on the school.
No.
Yeah, there
if you
should be
need to
courses
be,
in parenting.
there are, but it's not mandatory. The thing is
Yeah.
that a lot of it has to take place in school, but I think a lot of it has to take place at home too.
For
You can't
sure.
just expect, give your children's lives over to teachers who you don't really know and expect them to, basically raise your children.
You brought up a good subject, Ellie, because nowadays, back in like when I'm probably a little bit older than you guys, but back in the day, the teachers and the parents were like this.
Yeah.
Like you could not separate the two. Whereas nowadays,
a
I
nuisance,
find
almost.
that the teachers blame the parents blame the teachers,
No,
and the
I don't
kids in
think-
between.
No. I think I just had a parent-teacher interview today.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I mean, and this teacher sends us emails constantly. Is involved in our daughter's life and is so gung ho on getting her ready for grade 7. She is in it. Like,
you're lucky.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
lucky.
sweet.
You're lucky because
Yeah.
my daughter's a little bit older, and I even talked to. I was going to talk to the school today because she doesn't seem to be getting any tests or like. I don't know. I used to get a test like every week. Not that I would be in class, but I heard, you know.
Yeah, it's also different in like elementary school because you go from grade to grade and you're with one teacher. Whereas when you get to high school, you have a bunch of different teachers, and they only care about you for that, you know, an hour and a half. Not all teachers. There's amazing teachers too.
There
but,
is.
You know, it's.
There should almost be like a life class. Like
For
this is
sure.
this is a life
Actually,
class.
on that
Yeah.
point, I think the system is flawed, man.
Yeah.
There's there's no onus on the kids. A lot of kids these days just have everything that they want. They're just lazy.
Lazy.
You know,
Oh,
so I mean,
yeah.
I think kids should just go and just get lost in like somewhere
Exactly.
in the world, and just
Yeah.
like there's just plant 10 kids from some X amount of schools and just have them in the middle of, you know, a third world country and say fend for yourselves.
And I want to make sure,
Survive.
I want the Board of Education to make sure we're not bashing you guys. We're just because we have experience because we've been out of school for such a long period of time, or some of us have that.
Yeah.
Do we, you know, we can look back and say, wow, I wish I would have taught that in school so I could apply it to life. And
Making it
Like
They
courses
don't.
in like motivation and just like
Motivation
you know?
is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't teach that, and it's ridiculous,
Okay,
right?
let's move it along and let's talk about, let's sort of lighten up. Let's talk about nostalgia a little bit. Like, let's go through a little bit of things because now you look back and some of the things, like, let's
Things
just
have
say,
changed.
is there one particular moment in your life that you guys are, say, oh, I've listened to a song and wow, that brings back so many memories. Like, can you guys think of recall one moment or something? Like, for instance, for me, I'll start it off. For instance, when I hear Led Zeppelin, okay, all I remember is house parties and being on top of somebody and punching them out, or the other way around, right? Like, just fighting all the time. Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, it was always house parties and it was always chaos. So when I hear Led Zeppelin today, it's always like, oh yeah, I remember hitting that guy to the pounding of John Bonham's drums.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that, or you know, music or smells.
Yeah.
Something like that. So give us one. Just say, Ellie. Give us one that you can think
I mean,
back
music
about.
and smell is the big things for me, I think, too, because every time I hear like a Star Wars anthem or anything like that, I picture growing up as a kid because there's always kind of blaring in our house. It was,
Yeah.
we had family who was kind of obsessed with it. They loved it.
And is there one particular smell, like say a food that brings back a memory, like
Cinnamon rolls.
cinnamon
Really?
rolls?
Yeah, because me and my dad, when we were younger, we used to go. I used to like want to go everywhere with him, and we'd wait for my mom while she was working, and we'd go have like cinnamon rolls.
That's
and
so cute.
When I moved, because that was when we lived in Brampton, when I moved, there was no cinnamon roll place. So as I got older, it was like. I'm
So
poor.
even now.
Yeah.
And how about you, Kelly? Is there one smell that brings you back?
Yeah, probably popcorn popped in a pan on the stove.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jiffy Pop?
No, not Jiffy Pop. In a pan on the stove, and you had to. That's the way it was made because it was my mom and I would do it, and then we watched Dukes of Hazzards.
always
Okay,
tried that
there you
when I
go.
learned to.
And you? How about you? How about you, Ash?
I grew up
Is there one nostalgic thing that you
Michael
can think?
Jackson, I think.
Michael Jackson?
I swear, Michael Jackson.
So where
My
does that-
dad used to like every day blast Michael Jackson.
So that brings you back to with
Yeah.
your dad when you were
Yeah,
younger.
yeah.
Nice. And yourself, Dan?
I'd say pumpkins. The smell of like the inside of a pumpkin. You know, pumpkin seeds
Yeah.
roasting with the salt on it.
Yeah, that is so
That stuff is
good.
good. That stuff brings back memories. Every time I go in, like there's a pumpkin in front of me and it's open and I smell it. I feel like I'm 5 years old.
But I would probably say songs might be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The songs, like if you hear a song, I think songs remind people of relationships.
Remember
Yeah.
my car?
There you
Maybe
go.
made that
yeah,
CD,
from the 80s.
The
Yeah,
80s,
yeah. I think
loving
the
it.
song reminds you of relationships, and unfortunately, sometimes it's the bad relationships.
No, you just remember the good things about the relationship. There's certain songs. There's certain songs that you learn.
get
You
the-
get
brings
triggered.
back good memories.
Depends on your history of relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the last question, without getting too deep, is regrets. Without getting
What's
too
your
deep,
biggest regret?
without giving away all your secrets.
That's a little deep.
Yeah,
honey.
give us a regret.
A regret.
A regret. Whoever's first, I don't care. Do you guys have any regrets?
I got some dark ones, man.
No dark ones. Well, that's up to you. If you want to
Okay, you
share.
take the lead, honey.
Yeah, Dan.
Come on. Be very open.
You know what? Honestly, wasted time.
Wasted.
Wasted time, man. Like time is one of the most precious things that you'll ever have
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
life, and I've wasted some time in my life, and for that I regret.
Regret?
You know,
Yeah.
and
But that's kind of, I mean, that's good, but I think that's sometimes you can't help. Like, you can't help that just because it's circumstances, right? A little
Yeah.
bit. You know,
yeah,
you're busy.
I shouldn't beat myself. Thank you. It was my therapist.
You know, I heard a really good save. Actually, I'm stealing this from Facebook. Someone says everybody has great ideas in the shower, but it's what you do when you get out of the shower.
For sure.
You know,
That is so true.
and I'm stealing it, so I'm footnoting that because I got that off Facebook. So
Nice.
Okay. And yourself, Alec?
Oh gosh.
A regret?
I don't know. I maybe not. Nope. I can't think of any like huge regrets that I have.
Okay.
I think everything's kind of gotten me to where I am now. This is such a cheesy answer. Oh my God. Everything's gotten me to where I am now. I'm very happy.
Yeah, we all have regrets, but like
I feel like if those things were to change,
yeah.
I mean, if it was one thing, it'd probably start my career when I was much younger, because youth is a commodity nowadays.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yourself, Kel?
Probably spent too much time crying over relationships and men.
Okay.
I way
That's
too much time.
cute.
Wait, did you do?
No,
No, I think if I could go back and tell myself then, it'd be like, suck it up, move on.
Move on, yeah.
Move on.
Yeah,
I spent way too much time, you know.
Poor Elroy, poor
This
Yeah,
shall pass.
no, way too much time. That'd be my biggest regret.
And you, Ash?
Probably, yeah, like focusing on relationship and being so like upset about it when it's like they're in your life for a reason, so move on
Yeah.
and get over it and just accept it, right?
Yeah.
I think for me it would be, I have two. Probably like what Dan said, probably starting too late in this business. You know, I wish I started when I was 20, but sort of growing up, I remember I did sort of some acting for a while, and everybody thought like, oh my God, Jay, like, are you, like, should we like get you a dress? I don't know. So I just quit. I said, no, I'm not doing that anymore. But I wish I would have stayed with it, because it probably would have brought me to where I am a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And probably letting go of a couple of chicks that I probably
I still
shouldn't
have
have.
my dress.
Yeah, that's probably bigger. That's probably the biggest one. Letting go of a couple of real good girls. I just, well, I was a little wild back in the day. It was
Yeah.
like, so.
You still are, honey.
A little
Don't
bit.
lie.
Guys, I really want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
being on the show
Thank
today.
you.
Again, Kelly, if people want to get in touch with you, please give out your website or Facebook or wherever they can
I am on
contact you.
Facebook, or I have a website, kellymariemurtha.com. I have a YouTube channel. It's,
Okay.
I'm
Wow.
way out there.
Spell your name too, because probably people might not know.
It's
So.
Kelly, Kelly
Yep.
hyphen Marie, MARIE.
E?
I know, it's late. Last name is MURTHA.
Okay, and yourself, Ellie?
Like I said before, there's the darkhousefilms.com website and the artandliesproductions.com website.
Okay.
And pretty much find anything about me on there.
And what are the dates that it is?
Death is playing from November 23rd to the 26th at the Cadillac Lounge.
Okay.
And No Exit is playing end of January at Theater Pass Marai.
Beautiful. And yourself, Dan? People want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can look on my website actually at www.dan-fox.org.
Okay.
And I'm going to be updating it weekly with monoblogs. So I'm going to do like a monologue a week and put it on my site.
We're going to have to come back and do a New Delhi show, too.
Can we?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should.
that would be great.
And Guidestones. You can check out Guidestones on the web at www.guidestones.org as well. And you can register for the series. It's going to be launching in a couple weeks.
That's great.
amazing.
We really appreciate you coming in today. Hope you guys had a lot of fun.
Thank
We
you.
did.
Yeah,
We always
great.
did.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Hillary Reaver.
Woo!
Stay tuned with the Jay Stoyan Show.
Look in the eye, don't you dare turn the other way. Tell another lie, stay stupid about the day. I'm sick of all your lame excuses, why don't you just go away? You never said you loved me, so why should I still pay? Shame on you, you screwed up the time. Blame's on you, and you ain't man enough to mean it. Why don't you open your eyes and take a good look inside? You can hate what you think, you're never gonna tell the truth. Shame on you. Saw you Friday night with the kids of my best friend. Bones and jumping, smiles at me, doing it. The two of you must think I'm stupid, continuing to pretend. You think I don't see you laughing? both of you go to hell. Shame on you. You screwed up with your time with me. Blame's on you. You ain't man enough to me. Why don't you open your eyes and take a good look inside? But you hate what you see. You're never gonna tell the truth. Shame on you. Calculated, manipulated, you had it all planned out. Devastated and annihilated everything we talked about. I'm irritated and nauseated whenever you come around. You can go your own way. Liberated, captivated, separated, player hated. You never said you loved me, so why should I still care? Shame on you. You screwed up every time there. Blame's on you. You ain't man enough to mean it. Why don't you open your eyes, good look inside? But you hate what you see. You're never gonna tell the truth. Shame on you. Screwed up every time there. Blame's on you. You ain't man enough to mean it. You open your eyes, good look inside. But you hate what you see. Never gonna tell the truth. It's a shame on you. Thank you.
Give it up for Hillary Weaver. Wow, what a
Thank you.
performance,
Thank you so
Hillary.
much.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Before we get to the rest of the band and everything, I want to tell people that I was checking this girl out off camera, and what a fabulous future she has. Why don't we do this, Hillary? Why don't you mention all the guys in the band, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, first off here on bass, we have Dan Westnick. Give it up for Dan.
Woo!
And then on keys, we have Lindsay Clark. Give it up for Lindsay.
Give it up, give it up.
Woo! And on drums, we have Paul Berry. Give it up for Paul.
Beautiful, wow, yeah, I love
and
it.
finally, on guitar, we have Ryan Chalmers. Give it up for Ryan.
Woo! And of course, Hillary Weaver. Now, why don't we get into it? Because I know you guys have been around for a while. I know this is your second or third album that you were talking about off camera. We were talking about.
Yes.
So this is from your second album.
This is from my first album,
your first
actually.
album, okay.
Some of the songs that we played tonight are going to be on the second album
Okay.
that I am working on, so it should be out soon.
Why don't you tell our viewers? Because I know you have a great mix of rock and roll and pop. No, tell us a little bit of your inspiration. Who are some of your inspirations over the years?
Some of my inspirations are Pink,
Okay.
Kelly Clarkson, and Katy Perry as of recent.
Katy Perry, yeah.
But most of my inspirations just come from real life experiences, because that's what a true artist is. It's just real life stuff that you have to.
And I know you're a little bit of a triple threat because obviously you have fantastic vocals. You're a
you.
songwriter.
Yes.
And you move too on the stage, so you're a little bit of a dancer. So you're a little bit of a throwback. You're a three-person threat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So before we let you go, I know because you guys are all over the city. I know you guys have an event coming up in the future.
Yes, of
so if you
course.
want to tell our viewers where you're going to be playing.
We're going to be playing January 6th at the Rock Pile, so don't.
Great place.
Just
great
be
place.
there.
Great place. And I know you guys also have a website, so if they can check you out.
Yes, the website is hillaryweaver.com. It's HILARYWEAVER.com.
Beautiful. Let's give it up for Hillary Weaver and the band. Woo! I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. We really appreciate all the support. Again, check us out at www.thejstoyenshow.com and see us here next Friday at thatchannel.com for another fantastic show. I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank Hillary and the band.
Thank you, Jay, so much.
See you later. Bye-bye. Woo!